All right, I'm back. I haven't done a video in a while, but there's one product that I think is underappreciated. If you go online, it's overappreciated, but as far as here locally, we haven't got a lot of sales out of it just because it's kind of new. And that would be our third antifreeze product, the Amsoil heavy duty antifreeze and coolant. It was made for over-the-road trucking, but pretty much anything with a cast iron block and cast iron heads, this is the better choice. First of all, I'd lead you to go to Amsoil's website or any of our websites and look for the product data sheet. There's a lot of specific information, but the two things, the feedback that we're getting from customers out of state that I get, is they're seeing temperatures drop 10 to 15 degrees. And I also switched a vintage car of mine over, and it stays consistently cool. It's a 56 Chrysler. And it might have been because of this, but I didn't really have anything to compare it with because I haven't driven it long enough. But I have one car that you'll see on upcoming videos on my other channel, Grills and Axle Grease. I'm doing a fuel economy comparison, and one of the things I'm going to switch is the antifreeze, and I think that'll help because those 58 Thunderbirds are known to overheat because they have a very small radiator, and I'll be able to tell immediately if this is going to help. Right now I have half of a conventional and half of this one here because it's compatible with all the other ones, but I want to try this HOAT technology. That other one is made mostly for aluminum blocks, where this one is for cast iron blocks. So we'll test it ourselves there. But so people are seeing lower temps immediately. If you go to Amsoil's website, there's hundreds of reviews, and you can see that yourself. The other thing is, of course, no SCAs required, and that should be with most antifreezes, but it's not. But really the second thing I wanted to say is your Prestone, your green types of antifreeze, the anti-corrosive, anti-rust portion of those just don't last. And the big mistake is if you're not testing it every 8 to 12 months, you don't know if you actually have any rust or corrosion protection, and you probably don't. This is designed to last. That rust and corrosion protection will last as long as the freeze protection that this has. So that's a major improvement there. And then you want to get the proper test strips for ethylene glycol antifreezes too. So you want to be testing that, and that's where you'll see the big difference. But rust and corrosion causes erosion and cavitation and pitting and all that sort of thing on cylinder liners, and this product was developed to protect those liners. And one last thing, so you've got the over there we've got the OAT technology, which is pretty popular, the organic acid technology. You've got the Prestone types, which is just ethylene glycol with just some conventional short-lived anti-rust additive. And then this technology here is the HOAT technology, but it's kind of a Amsoil proprietary version of that, the hybrid organic acid formulation, because this one, again, it's tweaked for the over-the-road trucks with the iron blocks. So this product here, I'm also saying that it is the best modern choice for vintage cars that have iron blocks. I did a lot of research, not on just the Amsoil product, but that technology in general, and then you understand what Amsoil did to that to kind of tweak it a little bit, and there you go. So yeah, if you got an older block antique car that sits for 6 months, classic car that sits for 6 months, if you ever pulled the plugs on the block, you get all that sediment out, you've got to change something, because that's not good. You've got to filter, you got to drain it, maybe filter the fluid if it's still good or something. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to mention about this is probably the biggest concern, and that's compatibility. And yes, it's compatible with, just as it says from Amsoil, you know, they'll cover this with their own warranty. Compatible with all types of antifreeze, but the caveat here, and this is 1,000,000 miles, 1,000,000 miles, or 20,000 hours of service, whichever comes first. But as far as the compatibility goes, what you need to know, if the fluid is more, and this happens a lot, if the fluid is more than 6 years old, so it's been neglected, don't top off with any other brand. Flush the system first, because while it's compatible with every other type, just as the claim is, if that type has changed from heat and oxidation, whatever, you've got something else in there. So if it's more than 6 to 8 years old, you really need to flush the system. None of them are compatible with any of them, even with that claim, when it's old. And the reaction that'll happen will ruin that cooling system. So yeah, it's always smart just to flush it out before you switch brands. But if it's fresh stuff, it's only been in there for 2 years, yeah, no problem at all. I just did a Buick topping it off with Dexcool in it, I think it was, the orange stuff. And I've already had a bunch of these open. So I've been topping all my stuff off with this one, and I've never had any trouble. But now I'm putting in the heavy duty on those ones because they're iron blocks, the cars that I really like to drive. So of course my Corvairs don't use any antifreeze at all, so that's one car I don't have to worry about. So that's all for today. Hopefully we'll have some more. If you have any questions about other Amsoil products, you can post it here, and we can do more on those too in the future, or updates and things like that. So